Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 13 of the Fork Fix podcast. I am Cheri Bant, and this episode is titled, Do It Like You Mean It. All right, well, I've talked about this topic in the past, a little bit before, but today we're going to unpack it a bit. I keep hearing that on other podcasts I'm listening to, and that's what we're going to do today. We're going to unpack it. So we're going to talk about doing it like you mean it when it comes to nutrition and your health. So for any of you that have followed along with my experience, you know that I went all in whole food plant-based eating, just dove right in, and I haven't really looked back. Now, again, I know that the all-in approach doesn't work for everyone, right? But I really think it works for me. And we'll talk about how I feel about that a little bit later on in the podcast. But I really think that this decision to change your health, change your nutrition, really this could go for just about anything that you want to do in your life. But I think it really comes down to personality types. I started thinking about this, and I'm a proponent of kind of knowing more about yourself, and that will help you kind of get ahead. So we're going to talk about that. So if you're someone wanting to improve your health, and not just because you've had an experience like I did, where you had a major occurrence that kicked it into high gear, like me ending up in the hospital, that certainly kicked me in the ass to, jump starting this whole health thing. But for the podcast today, and for those of you listening, if you're someone who needs a change, you want to change, but you just haven't got yourself there. You haven't gotten to the point where you can start. This podcast is for you. But back to the personality types, you know that you need to know about yourself as a person, right? And sometimes we think we know, but we're not so sure. But the more you know about yourself and the way that you operate, I think with age, you kind of get it. But I know many people who are lots older than I am who still don't really know themselves all that well. But anyways, the more that you can know about yourself, the more that you'll understand what motivates you or what doesn't motivate you to help you with your health goals and your health journey. So I was kind of digging into this because I had the thought about the whole personality types, and of course I've taken all the tests. As an entrepreneur, I kind of dug into all of that, like the now I can't even think the name of all the different personality tests that are out there. But anyway, I started digging, and I was just kind of looking for something a little simpler, and I read an article. I didn't actually read this book, guys. So there's a book based on the personality types I'm going to talk about today. I didn't read it. I just read the article that was about the book. But anyways, there's a book. It's called The Four Tendencies, the Indispensable Personality Profile that reveals how to make your life better and other people's lives better too. And it's by Gretchen Rubin. Like I said, didn't read the book, just read the article, read the cliff notes, I guess you'd say, about the different personality types that she writes about. And it kind of really struck, kind of hit a chord. And I think that this might help some of you out there too. You can actually she does have a free personality test on her website. You do have to put your email address in, and she mails the results to you that way. So you have to give up some info to get the info. But anyways, I will share that link in the show notes. So if you feel like you want to dig into it a little bit more and find out more than what I'm going to share here, then you can check out her website. Okay, so the four different types that she talks about, there's the obliger, the questioner, the rebel, and the upholder. And I'm going to go through and talk about each of these a little bit. And kind of as I read them, think about yourself. And I'll talk about them a little bit more after I go through, because I kind of wrote down some stuff that was in the article, and I'll share that with you now. And then we'll unpack it after I'm done reading it. Okay, so the obliger. The obliger easily meets others' expectations. They deliver projects on time when someone else is counting on them, but they struggle with inner expectations, such as setting personal goals, resolutions, things like that. They become discouraged when trying to adopt new habits because they've tried and failed in the past. So that failure has a tendency to stop them in their tracks, or they're hesitant to start, right? Does that sound like you? Obliger. And so I would say this person needs accountability. That's I haven't read the book, don't know what she says, but my thoughts on it would be this person, the obliger type of personality, needs accountability. Okay. Questioner, someone who always asks questions. They question everything, right? They want to know why something is the way that it is. They want to dig deep, have a deep commitment to the logic and the efficiency of something. Questioners have a hard time making decisions because they want more and more and more information. They need reasons to justify to be motivated. And if they are at work or feel something is dumb, they just won't do it because they don't have the reasons to why they want to do it, right? So a questioner needs to be convinced. And sometimes a questioner, I would say, probably seeks information but doesn't act upon it. So think about yourself, as that may be a little bit you. And I would say you can be all of these things, but we'll talk about that again in a minute. The rebel. So that was another one. Rebels resist all expectations, outer and inner. They do what they want to do in the way that they want to do it, acting from a source of freedom, choice, and self-expression. When someone else tries to get a rebel to do something, they resist it. So they hate, this is my analysis, they hate being told what to do. So I would say a rebel has to be self-driven. So you have to have that innate want within you to be able to get motivated and start something. Okay, and the last one is the upholder. And upholders are good at meeting inner and outer expectations. They meet deadlines. They thrive under rules and expectations and keep resolutions without too much problems. So these are the people who are already doing all the things, right? These are the people that are probably already kind of watching what they eat. They exercise daily. But I would say where somebody might have stumbling here is if you are already doing all those things, and you're probably not listening to my podcast right now, but even if you are and you're good at all of those things, you just might not have the right information. So as in whole food, plant-based is the way to go. And, you might eat the chicken or the fish thinking that it's lower in calories and it's going to be okay for you. And so that would be my thing. The upholder is the person that I used to look at and say, how did they even do that? I could never do that, right? All right. So I think sometimes we walk through life, I know different personality types analyze themselves more than others too. So if you're not one to do a lot of self-analysis, it's really good, guys. It's really good to kind of dig in, but then don't get too fixated on it. I can't talk. But you still need to have an awareness of who you are and how you operate, right? But I think a lot of times we don't know who we truly are. Like, what are our triggers? What are the things that motivates us? What are the things that stop us from doing stuff? And I think a lot of the obstacles, we have a tendency to point to the externals, when in reality it might be our own personality traits, us not understanding them, and we're just fighting ourselves and our innate way of reacting to things, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. So where does this come in with the do it like you mean it? Because that was the title that I had, right? Well, once you have an inner voice telling you that you need to change. And I know if you're listening to this, maybe you're just family and friends and you just want to know what's going on with me. But if you're thinking, you have the thoughts that you want to add more plants to your diet. You want to get rid of meat and dairy, or at least cut it back 99.9%. I put that in there, but you want to cut it back. You don't want to feel like shit anymore. You don't want to be overweight. Maybe you're having problems with weight. I know I sure as hell did, and I don't anymore. You want to be able to exercise, or maybe not. Well, maybe you don't want to exercise, but you know that you should. Or maybe you want to, but you can't because you just feel so bad, or it's too hard, right? That could be you. Or you just want to feel better. Is that you? You just want to feel better. Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Well, then this is a great way to kind of get started, to start thinking about understanding yourself better. But I will say this, everyone deserves this, guys. Everyone deserves to, to have the chance to feel better. You deserve this. You do. You out there listening. Now, I can't stress enough how much I think the all-in approach is the best way to go. And the reason that I feel this way is because for those of you who need convincing, which is most of us, but for those of you who need convincing, it might be the only way for you to commit to real change because you'll see the results. And I think I understand that that might not be the case for everyone, that you might have to take it slower, but I'll tell you that most people don't want to put in the hard unless you get something in return. And if you go all in eating whole food, plant-based, you're going to get the return quicker. So that's my theory here. If you start and you go and you commit, give it a couple weeks, fully committed, and see the results of the change. But I do understand, and I've got it in my notes here. I understand if you're the person that can't do that or you need to go slower. Honestly, I will tell you, I'm gonna be transparent. I kind of don't understand that because that's not going back to personality traits. That's not who I am. But I do understand not everybody is like me. So I do get that. And I can empathize with, you need to start a little slower. So if that is you, I suggest that you get connected with someone else or a group or any place or person that can help you, that's walking through the same journey as you, and someone that you can be accountable to. And because I will tell you, I think if you don't have that accountability, and I've talked about this on another podcast, like your success rate is almost nil. So you need that. Or if you start, it's probably not going to last. You're gonna fall down again. Then you're gonna feel like you failed, and that isn't any good place to be, right? So you want this to be a journey, not a diet, and you want it to be a lifestyle, not just a 30 days. But if you can take it each day at a time, if you can fully commit, give it a couple weeks. I say give it 3. I say give it 3 weeks. But if you can't, start committing to what you can do. Commit yourself to what you really want. And that's where the doing it like you mean it comes in. If you're having that voice inside your head that keeps prompting you, telling you that you should do this, like the little, you know what I'm talking about, the little, I really should exercise. I really should start watching when I'm eating better. Or you've started and then you've kind of fallen away from those habits again, or fallen back into your old habits. Just listen to the voice and commit to it in the way that you can. And I think that maybe looking into the personality types, listening to this again, or hopping on that website and taking that free test, getting yourself thinking about what the motivators are for you. Because I will tell you, if I would have taken that test in the beginning, I would have been the obliger and probably the rebel, because I always put other people before myself. And I always felt that was selfish to do anything for myself. So that'd be the obliger, right? And then I didn't like to be told what to do. Now, if I was to take it again, I would be the upholder now, because I've changed my life. So, just kind of analyzing where you're at and what tools you need, what people you need, how you need to surround yourself. Let me get a drink here. What tools you might need, who you need to surround yourself with to help you get to where you want to go. So hopefully this isn't a long one today, but hopefully this was helpful. I just want to thank you all for watching and listening. I'd love to hear some feedback and your thoughts on those different personality types and which one you think you might be. And then the other thing is, check out my latest blog too. I've got a note here. On my latest blog, I talk about a new community that's launching to the public April 6th, and it's called Whole Communities, if I could talk. It's through the Center for Nutrition Studies. They're doing a free webinar to launch the event with T. Colin Campbell, so the one who wrote the China study, and also Howard Lyman, who wrote Mad Cowboy. So very, very good speakers, lots of information. I hope you can attend that event. It's free. I think it's in the afternoon. I should know the time. I think it's noon or 1 or something like that, but I don't know if they'll do a recording if you can't see it live. Anyway, you need to get yourself signed up for that. I'll put a link to that too, or you can hop on the blog and get the link there. But yeah, check out the details. It would be awesome if you could join me in Whole Communities. I'm actually a moderator for their community education and food literacy group in there, and I'm just having a blast. And they're in a beta right now with the Plant Forward the people that did the Plant Forward workshop. So yeah, it'll be launching out April 6th. So check it out. So again, if you listen to this and you got anything at all, or any of the podcasts, and they're helping or they're motivating or whatever, I'd love to hear some feedback. If you could leave a review either on the Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you can review there too. That would help spread the word for the podcast and get the whole food plant-based goodness out there. But anyways, that's all I got for today, and hopefully this was helpful. And check me out on Instagram. Check us out on Instagram too. Follow along there. I share a lot of things on Instagram. My daily walks. If you want to see the lake, I share a lot on there too. So that's Fork Fix on Instagram. So anyways, thanks for watching or listening, and I will see you next week. And again, I'll leave you with this. Don't be screwed by food. Eat whole food, plant-based. I will see you next week. Bye now.